Hi everybody and welcome back to Let's Sew. My name's Amanda if you don't already know, and I'm teaching you how to sew from start to finish. So if you've got no knowledge at all about sewing, that's absolutely fine. Please join the family. If you have got knowledge on sewing, exactly the same comment applies. No problem, please join the family. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe to grow our channel, and then that'll make it so the content applies more to what you're wanting to see, and then help me grow the channel, that we can get things on there that can suit you. Okay, what we're going to do today is to sew the lingerie bags that we cut out a few videos ago. Okay, I've been a little bit quiet this week, so I've had a lot on, but we're going to start today to sew the bags. Sorry. Okay, right. This is a different piece of fabric that we did cut out. I seem to have misplaced it in all the fabric somewhere, but anyhow, it's the same kind of fabric. I have just cut a long strip like this. I'm hoping that you can see this. I can't see my reflection because of the sun. Just bear with me a minute. Let me tilt you down a little bit. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. Right. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to do a channeled one first. So I'm going to use bias binding to make a channel for our cord to go through. Okay, so we've got one long thin strip of fabric. The first thing I'm going to do is to pin this onto here and neaten the top edge at the same time. So I'll show you how we're going to do that. I'm going to fold this over. Can you see me? Yeah. Fold this over by, let's have a look. Which edge are we going to, let's see. We'll use this edge because we can use this flower as a guide, so that we get our seam straight, which is easy way to do it. So if we fold it over first of all, this will save you neatening the hem as well, neatening the top edge as well if we do it like this, because the bias tape will be your neatening, the neatening way that you can use. Okay, if you did do just drawstring without a channel, which I'm going to show you as well, then you won't do this. You'd neaten this on its own without any bias tape, so that's a little bit different. On the next one as well, I have had a comment or a request asking how to do them with boxed off corners. So like if you're doing Christmas stockings, Christmas sacks for presents, the corners at the bottom will be flat, so the bag will stand better, this Christmas sack will stand better. So as you can see on here, I've just turned over the edge and pinned it. And then what I'm going to do now, I've got our bias tape, is pop the bias tape. I want to make sure you've got a long enough piece. I'm going to pop the bias tape on top of the edge. Sorry, here, look. There we go. On the edge here, so it covers the seam, but not by lots, just a little bit, so it just covers the seam. Maybe if you use this bit, this where it's turned over, the bias, if you use that as your guide when you're popping it on the fabric, so you would pop it with this, oh, I need to lift you up, there you go, the turned part on the edge of the bottom part of this turned part and pin it there. That will help. Okay, so we will pin that across here, but what I need to do is fold under like so, probably about an inch there, so that we've got a nice neat edge that doesn't fray, and pop that right at the edge. And if you take the pin out that you've used to turn your edge over, I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing here. I can't see my reflection in the computer screen because of the sun on it. But you'll get the gist in a second. So use this pin, put it in place, use this pin, pin it over. Use this along the, and put in this edge here, you can see, to match the edge at the bottom. Use this pin that we'd pinned before, pop it on there, the same all the way along. Okay, so I'm just trying to see if you can see. I've got a real expression on my face, haven't I? Sorry. Right, okay. Get right to this edge. Now, when we get, oh, sorry, don't put pins in your mouth. It's a habit I have to get out of. done all my life, and it's dangerous. Don't do it. Get a pincushion. These wrist ones, brilliant. I got this one from Dunelm. I think it was £1.50, so it was really good value. And trying to get used to not popping pins in my mouth. It's an automatic reaction. So if somebody makes you jump or anything when you're sewing and you swallow one, be a trip to the hospital, and it's not a very pleasant trip, I wouldn't imagine. Right, I've got that. Turn the other end under on my bias tape and pin. Okay, now what I'm going to do is pin the bottom as well. So we'll pin now the bottom of the tape. Pin, pin, oops, pin, pin. These are really good if you're dressmaking as well, because if you're measuring, it's easy to measure and pin these straight onto the garment, especially if you're measuring someone else, and you say knelt down measuring the hem while they're wearing the garment. You've got this attached to your body so that you can easily pin without scrabbling about in a pin box or pin cushion. They're better off on your wrist. Now I'm going to take this so you can see it's pinned on both sides of the bias, top and bottom. I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and sew along the top and sew along the bottom. So I'll do that and I will be with you in a second. Hi guys, it's me, I'm back. Okay, I've changed venue on where we are because too hot in the conservatory. It's 94 degrees at the moment, which as you can imagine is far too hot. So we're in my kitchen at the moment. Right, I've stitched along the top of the bias and at the bottom, as you can see, to enclose the raw edge. You can see here, stitched really close along the top. What I meant to do, but because of the heat, I've left my brain somewhere, is leave it back a little bit loose, is what I'm trying to say. Here for the seam. So what we're going to do now is pin down here and sew this seam and across the bottom. But we need to leave where the bias will go. We need to leave that part of the seam open. So I'm going to stitch down here a little bit to just underneath where the bias is, and then the same down the bottom, from the bottom of the bias down and across the bottom. Because what will happen is, if we stitch it across the top of the bias, you won't be able to get your cord in, but this will make it the easiest way to do it for you. So all I've done is unpick a little bit back. It's probably, I don't know, a couple of inches or 5 centimetres back. We'll do the seam down here and then we'll turn this back over and just finish it off across here. We do leave the bias seam end open here for the cord to go through. Okay, so we will pin her now. Let me put it back together for you and tilt you a little bit. Excuse my hand in your camera so you can see. Right, so here's our fabric. Just put the edges together. I'm going to fold that bias back there and at the front, like so. And I'm just going to pin them out of the way. Just pin them out of the way so that you've got clear access to this hem, to this side seam. And then I'm going to pin our seam, the top here where the bias isn't, flat, like so. And then I'm going to sew from the very top here, just to past to here and stop, sorry, from the top to here, and then I'm going to stop sewing, start again then from here and then straight down to the bottom. So I shall pin that like so, and then I need to leave a gap, which I'm going to leave this gap and start sewing again there and straight down here. And while I'm on the sewing machine, I haven't got to stop again, I'm going to turn the corner and sew straight across the bottom as well. So I'll do that and I'll be back in 2 minutes to show you how to do the next part. Hi, right, welcome back. I've done the edge sew and down the edge here and across the bottom, and this little bit here, from here to here, I've left a gap here, and I've also, while I was at the machine, neatened the edge with a zigzag stitch just across the edge, straight over the edge of the fabric, just to prevent fraying. Okay, so when you pop this in the wash, all your fabric won't start to pull apart and get weak like this is here. This will, can you see them little tiny fibres? Yeah, well, if you didn't neaten, all your fabric would peel eventually and be like that, all fray. I do normally trim them off. Once I've neatened, I'll just go around the edge with the scissors. But for today, that'll be all right. It's just going to have face masks and what have you in it. So now the next thing to do is to finish this edge here and put the bias over here. So that's what we'll do next. I'm going to take the pins out, okay, and I might need to shorten this now a little bit. And what I am going to do is, let's have a look, take it to the very edge. So if I cut a little bit off here, in fact no, I'll fold it twice like so. So it goes to the seam line. Tuck all this in. And get it so it runs to the edge. Tiny bit more of my seam. At least if I do it like this, the bias has got a good strong opening, because it will be drawstring and backwards and forwards. So yeah, so that goes right to the edge of my seam, where my seam starts. My seam starts for the side, starts here. So if I pin it here on this side, and then it's, if you tuck the edges in, we need to then sew this little bit as well. So let's pin that bit there, and then what I need to do is do the same on the other side, and then I just need to, where this where I pulled unpicked it back to let the stitches out so that I could do its edges, I just need to start there and go to the end of this seam on both sides. Okay, so just bear with me a second and I'll go and do that, and I'll be back to you. Hi, I'm back. Right, I've done the seam to the edge. I haven't done the sewn the seam to seal the end. So I'm going to thread now. I've put my tape that I'm going to use as a drawstring onto a safety pin, and I'll show you how to start, and then I'm just going to carry on and thread it all the way through the bias and come back to you. So first of all, we pop the pin through the gap at the edge and grab it with this thumb. So then it's a little bit stiff to start with. You may have to just wiggle it about till it gets going. Okay, and then you kind of push your fabric onto the pin. There we go. Once she's going, you just move your fabric, the loose fabric at this side. Keep push, 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 and pull. You hold it with this left hand and keep push, pull. So you push the fabric, grab the pin, so you can see it's going through. Grab the pin, pull with your left hand, and your tape will go through. So, and move the garment or the item you're sewing across as you're doing it. So push the pin towards your other thumb, hold the pin with your right thumb, pull your fabric only, not the tape, back, and carry on. So once you've got used to doing it, you'll be able to do a few gathers of fabric onto it like so, and pull your pin through the lot like that. Okay, so this is how you do this. I'll come back to you when I've got to the end to save you sitting and waiting. Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, so now that you've got the drawstring all the way through, as here, then we need to just trim it off because as you'll see, as you draw it through with your safety pin, the end get a little bit tatty. So that's the maximum amount of cord that we need. So then if we cut this off here, if you cut it at an angle, it helps to stop fraying. So I've cut it on the angle to cut 2 points. It's curling a little bit so you can't exactly see. Like so. I'm going to knot this so that it doesn't pull through. It shouldn't do, but I'm going to put a little knot in it just in case at each end. And that is your drawstring bag. So let's see. It will be a little bit stiff when you first try and pull it because it's working its way through the fabric, but as time passes it will get much easier and it'll just pull so that it closes straight away. So there you have it, a drawstring bag for face masks and sanitizer, or lingerie, or sweets, or whatever you want to keep in there. If you want to put your lingerie in and take it on holiday, well, take the bags on holiday, put dirty lingerie in it. You could put a pair of knickers and whatever in there, whatever you want to do, you can make them bigger, as we've said. So that's your first one. I'm now going to show you one without a casing, but that's lined and that's got squared off corners even. So thanks for today. Let me put you back up so I can see you. Oh, hello. Yeah, thank you for watching today. And yes, thanks for subscribing. Please subscribe if you haven't. I know I sound like a parrot repeating itself constantly, but it's important that you do that. And then I know that I'm using my time wisely and that people are actually wanting to see what I'm actually recording. So really appreciate it. Share it with your friends, share it wherever. If you like the bag, crack on and make one. That's all I can say. Obviously you can press it. I mean, I haven't pressed this, but before you turn it through, just give it a press and it'll make it pristine. They also will wash at 60 because it's made out of cotton. So once you've had your face masks on there, to dispose of them carefully, put your face mask inside, tie it up. When you come home, put it in the bin. Or if you're using a washable face mask, you can leave it in here and bang the whole lot in the washer. So that's even easier. Sorry for the change of venue mid room, whatever. Far too hot in the conservatory. I am going to go back in there shortly and sew a little bit, but it's very hot. I might actually bring the sewing machine into my kitchen, but it's just that all my stuff's in there. Anyhow, I waffle on, as I tend to do. Gabble a lot. For those of you that know the Yorkshire accent, talk a lot. Gas a lot, gabble a lot, same kind of thing. Okay, so thank you very much for watching today, and I will see you all very soon. Keep watching for the next video. For the bigger bag, I'm going to do it as a bread bag, because as I said to you before, the best way apparently to store your bread is in a cotton bag, in a cool place, not in the fridge, just in a cotton bag with a drawstring top. Okay, so I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for joining me, and bye-bye.